We always try to get better each and every month right here on the Commanders Report, and you guys can help me out. Looking back at the likes per month over the past couple of months, it's been pretty good. 17,000 in May, 18,000 in June. So far, July, even though we're 3 days into it, has been off to a little bit of a slow start. I need you guys to help me out. Do me a solid. Like today's video. Let's get those numbers up. Welcome into the show, everybody. My name is Joey Peterson, your fill-in host right here on the Commanders Report. And today, we're going to look at an ESPN article. They did it for every single one of the 32 teams. They kind of took into account everything from OTAs and minicamp, and they talked about a surprise player for each team. And we're going to tell you who they said was that surprise player so far for the Washington Commanders. When I think surprise players, obviously I go back to last season. And if I had to pick one, and I know he's not on this team any longer, I would say my surprise player for 2024 was Jeremy Chinn. I'm talking about a guy that we came into the season with not a ton of hope or expectation for. That was kind of a really, really important part, especially when you look at the defensive side and what he was able to do kind of in that bandit safety role. Jeremy Chinn, massive surprise, was a really big part of this defense, and what he did for this team, for Joe Whitt Jr., was absolutely massive and integral in their, quest for the NFC division or conference title. Let's go to 2025, though, okay? We're leaving last year in the rearview mirror. We're leaving Jeremy Chinn in that rearview mirror as well. Who did ESPN say so far has been the biggest surprise for your Washington Commanders? It's a familiar face. Let's talk about Daron Payne. That's who the worldwide leader in sports said was, through OTAs and through minicamp, the biggest surprise for your Commanders. I'm really, really excited about Daron Payne going into this year, and he's giving me lots of reasons to, based on how he's been performing and mainly how he's been leading so far. Here's what ESPN had to say. It's not so much about his performance on the field. It's impossible to tell much about linemen because they're not in pads, but rather what stood out with Payne was what others saw from him. Coach Dan Quinn said he had a laser focus this spring. And defensive coordinator Joe Whitt Jr. said he looks really good, really intentful. You can really see him taking that leadership role to the next step. He's been the guy that's really just stood out to me, to be the most from that standpoint. They pointed to him becoming more of a leader and being more outgoing around the building. And in my opinion, looking back to 2024 and into the future, into 2025, this feels like it's exactly what this team needs, especially on the defensive side of the football. There's a lot of new additions coming into this room, right? Deatrich Wise on the defensive line, signed in free agency. Javon Kinlaw on the defensive line, signed in free agency. Same with Jonathan Jones, and Will Harris, both in that secondary. And then Marshon Lattimore, I know he came in last year at the trade deadline, but this really will be his first time having a full offseason in Washington, having a full season with this team as well. So there's really just four guys who are brand new to this team. So a new leader kind of needs to step up and show them what it's like to be a Washington Commander, because we're still only in the year 2 of this new regime with Dan Quinn and with Joe Whitt Jr. They're kind of still figuring out, I feel like, their identity, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And this is also needed because Jonathan Allen is not going to be on this defensive line for the first time in what feels like 3 decades, right? We've just been so used, not just to the play of Jonathan Allen, but we've just been so used to his leadership. That's always been one of his best qualities. We never really had to ask, hey, who's the leader on the defensive side of the football? Who's the leader up front? A lot of times, and I think a lot of you would agree, I feel like Jonathan Allen was just the leader of the team in general, both sides of the football. Now that he's gone, it's great to see Daron Payne kind of stepping into those shoes. You tell me, okay? ESPN name there. Who do you think is going to be the surprise player for Washington in 2025? You let me know in the comment section down below. Unfortunately, it's not all roses for Daron Payne, right? They talked about the great things of the leadership that's coming up, and that's all good and well. But we don't just need to see it in the locker room. We need to see it on the field this next season as well. ESPN said Washington needs more from Payne this season. After recording 11.5 sacks in a contract year in 2022, he has posted a combined 8 the past 2 seasons. But more than sack totals, Payne needs to be felt more in the pass rush. Payne isn't in a contract year, but could be cut next offseason for a $16 million savings. Now, for the most part, I agree a lot with what ESPN had to say, right? Especially with that last part. I could definitely see Daron Payne at the end of this year being one of those guys that we talk about that's a cut candidate. If he doesn't step it back up, if he just has another year where he has 3.5, 4 sacks, like to save $16 million and cut Daron Payne, that kind of seems like a no-brainer. But I do have mixed thoughts still. Okay, thought number one, I definitely agree that more is needed out of him when it comes to the pass rush. You just have not gotten what you paid for, and you paid a lot for it, right? I mean, look at these combined stats in 2023 and 2024. 8 sacks in 2 years. His sack percentage is .85. Quarterback pressure is only 66 in 2 seasons. Quarterback pressure percentage, 6.7%. 7 quick quarterback pressures. Now, I know it's a little bit harder getting to the quarterback, especially from the interior of the defensive line. He doesn't have the, benefit of being on the exterior, benefit of being an edge rusher, kind of just having to go one-on-one with a tackle. He has to deal with guard. He has to deal with center. Hell, sometimes he has to deal with the tackle as well. It's a lot easier to get double-teamed on the inside. But still, guys, that's really, really bad. Those numbers are very, very poor, especially for a guy with that price tag. If it was a guy making $4 million a year, you'd notice it, but you wouldn't dwell on it near as much, right? Well, with the money that Daron Payne's making, those numbers, yikes, makes them look even worse. But then I have another thought about this, right? Sure, the pass rush isn't great, but he does a lot in run defense, okay? In that interior. He's really, really, really important when it comes to this team's ability to stop the run. That's such a big part of his game, and that's really where he helps out in this defense a lot. Now, Johnny Newton, I'm expecting to step back up and be a really, really big part in that too. I'm excited to see the rotation between Payne and Kinlaw, but all in all, I think we could admit that this group is good. It's fine. It's all right. I still think this group needs to improve. I believe you probably agree with me as well. This isn't an elite unit. I don't even know if I would call it a middle tier unit. That, to me, if we're being real with each other, looks like a bottom 7-8 unit in football, bottom 25% in the National Football League. I think something's got to change, at least before the start of the season. There's a couple trade targets. We've talked about these guys a lot. We talked about one of them yesterday with TJ Watt. 2 guys I could see Washington being in on if a trade was possible with them. We know Trey Hendrickson's holding out. TJ Watt, he's not officially holding out yet. Like Trey Hendrickson has said it's a holdout. TJ Watt hasn't yet, but we all know that he's upset with his current contract situation. But I think even outside of trade targets, like the guys that are there in free agency, you could go and get any of those guys. Von Miller, Zadarius Smith, Jadeveon Clowney, Matthew Judon, Preston Smith, like any one of those guys, I think would be a really, really good boost to this pass rush unit. Now, sure, they're getting a little bit older. The youngest in that group, 4, tied for 32. Von Miller, he's going to be 36 years old. So I'm not saying they're spring chickens. I'm not saying they're going to be the answer for years and years to come. But what I am saying is they could help out a lot with this unit in the pass rush in this next season. Okay? Be honest. Do you guys believe in Daron Payne? Because I know he's had a couple of years on the downward slope. If you do, make sure, like today's video, give me a thumbs up to prove that you believe in the interior pass rusher. Coming up, the Commanders made a pretty big announcement on Twitter this week. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. I'm going to do a little bit of speculating with that as well. But before that, one thing we don't need to speculate about is that Deebo Samuel is going to be awesome. And he's going to look awesome in a Commanders uniform. You can look awesome in his jersey as well. If you go to chatsports.com/Deebo right now, I made it super easy. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. You can get yourself a Deebo Samuel Jr. jersey. I have a feeling that he's going to be a favorite, especially for your Jaden Daniels. So excited to see the way Cliff Kingsbury uses him in this offense. Get your jersey today, chatsports.com/Deebo. Of course, again, that link's in the comments and description of today's video. So on Twitter, the Washington Commanders revealed this picture. New alternate uniforms unveiled next week, July 9th. So about 6 days away, next Wednesday. Well, there were some designers that got in those replies and kind of started cooking up some, possible jerseys. And I think they look pretty fresh. You see this one right here with the burgundy, got the stripes back on, the sleeves, socks are back how they used to be. You got the stripes in the middle of the helmet. I think it looks great. I think it looks great in white as well. Now, in that picture I showed you on first off, it looked like it was a white uniform, in my opinion. So I don't know if the alternate is just going to be white or if there's going to be multiple colors in the alternate. I don't know how it's going to look. I'm excited to see the way it looks. You can go ahead and throw up the next one as well that we saw. There's no next one? That's fine. Myself personally, I think my favorite uniform for Washington with the new Commanders looking uniforms, I love the way that the all black uniforms look. I think that's super, super fresh. I love the numbers on the side of the helmet. I don't love the W in the middle, but other than that, I think it's a really, really cool look. What I would love to see at some point is for them to bring these puppies back. I think those are awesome with the spear on the side. You got the big stripes on the shoulder pads with the spear going down as well. I love the gold pants, burgundy, dark burgundy tops. I think that's one of the coolest uniforms that this franchise has ever had. Take a guess for me. What do you think the new uniforms will look like? Do your best. Give me your best guess in the comment section down below. And as always, thanks so much for joining us on today's episode. Make sure if you have not yet, you should subscribe. Easy to do. All you got to do, hit that big red sub button.